animated horror stories.
My name is Anushka, and the memory I'm about to share still lingers like a shadow in my mind. I was only 10 years old when it happened. Every summer, my family and a close family friend's household would travel together to a coastal town for vacation. Those trips were filled with laughter, beach games, and temple visits. That year, however, something entirely different awaited us. Usually, my father booked rooms in a popular resort near the beach, but this time, we hadn't made reservations in advance. When we arrived, every hotel was already full. The staff suggested we return the next morning when rooms might open. But for that night, we needed another place to stay. Left with no choice, my father found a small, isolated lodge far from the sea and temples. The unsettling part was its location. It stood right next to an old graveyard. My parents reassured us it was only for one night, so we reluctantly agreed. The day itself was wonderful. We played in the sand, splashed in the waves, and returned to the lodge exhausted but happy. That night we fell asleep quickly, but around 1 in the morning, I suddenly woke up gasping for air. It felt as though something heavy pressed against my chest, pinning me down. I tried to move, but my body was stiff, paralyzed. My eyes darted toward the corner of the room, where I saw a tall, dark figure standing perfectly still. It didn't look human. I screamed for my mother. She rushed to my side, shaking me until my body loosened. My father carried me into the dim hallway, where a single glass door let in pale moonlight. Outside, stray dogs howled endlessly. My breath returned, but when I glanced back, I saw the figure again. Long hair floating unnaturally, eyes burning with fury. We didn't stay in that room again. At dawn, my father checked us out and we shifted to another hotel. The rest of the holiday went smoothly, yet I carried the fear home. Later, when I finally spoke about it, my mother admitted she had seen the same shadowy figure that night. Since then, darkness itself has never felt empty to me. It always hides something waiting to be seen. My name is Reza, and what I'm about to recount is something that continues to haunt me whenever I visit my relatives. It happened when I was around 12 years old. My parents had to travel for a family function, so they left me to spend the weekend at my aunt's house. She lived in an old 2-story home that had always seemed a little strange to me. Narrow hallways, dim lighting, and creaky wooden floors that groaned at night. Still, I was excited because she spoiled me with my favorite food and allowed me to watch television late into the night. That evening, everything was normal. My aunt served dinner, we chatted, and then she went to bed early, leaving me alone in the living room. I switched on the TV and curled up on the sofa. The program I was watching ended, and as the commercials began, I leaned back and absent-mindedly stared at the darkened screen when it flickered. That's when I noticed something that froze me completely. The reflection in the glass did not match the room behind me. Instead of the furniture, I saw a tall figure, thin, with long arms, standing directly behind the sofa where I sat. My body turned cold. I whipped my head around instantly, but there was nothing there, just the silent, empty hallway. My heart pounded as I looked back at the TV again. The figure was still in the reflection, closer this time, as if it had moved while my eyes were elsewhere. Terrified, I shouted for my aunt. She hurried downstairs, but by the time she arrived, the reflection was gone. I tried to explain, pointing at the screen, but all she saw was her own reflection. She comforted me and suggested I sleep in her room for the night. Reluctantly, I agreed. As I lay next to her, listening to the old house creak and sigh. I couldn't shake the memory of that figure. It wasn't my imagination. I knew what I had seen. Since then, whenever I encounter a blank television screen, I avoid looking directly into it. For me, it's not just glass. It's a window into something dark that waits to be noticed. This incident took place a few years ago when my family and I traveled to England for a short vacation. We planned to explore the countryside and visit a few historical towns. On the way, we stopped at a small village where we intended to stay the night. Most of the local inns were full, but one of the villagers directed us to a hotel at the edge of town. From the outside, it looked old, but still functioning. Its large wooden doors and tall windows gave the impression of faded grandeur. We didn't realize then that stepping inside would feel like entering another world. The lobby was dimly lit, and though the receptionist gave us keys with a polite smile, there was an odd silence hanging over the place. No other guests could be seen, and the long corridors were lined with dusty paintings and worn carpets. We were given 2 adjoining rooms. My parents unpacked while I decided to explore a little. That's when I noticed a heavy wooden wardrobe at the far end of the hallway. It seemed strangely out of place, almost too large for the narrow corridor. Later that night, as I lay in bed, I heard something unusual, a slow, dragging sound, as if furniture was being pushed across the floor. At first, I thought it came from the room above, but the receptionist had told us we were the only ones staying that night. The sound grew louder, stopping right outside our door. Then, a faint knock echoed through the silence. My heart raced as I peeked out. The hallway was empty except for the wardrobe, now standing slightly ajar. I froze. From the crack of the door, I thought I saw a pale face peering out. The figure was thin, draped in something white, and its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. I blinked, and the wardrobe door slammed shut with a force that made the walls tremble. Terrified, I rushed back inside, locked the door, and hid under the blankets. The next morning, when I nervously mentioned it to my parents, they admitted they had also heard noises during the night, but chose not to frighten me. We checked out immediately, leaving the hotel behind without asking questions. Even today, whenever I see an old wardrobe, I remember that night in England and wonder what exactly was trapped inside.